All right. Oh boy. Another time, another day, another week. Whew, whew, whew. I can't believe it. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got Arya in the house. This is episode 3 of the Hour Lobbies. Residents of the rivers. I would like to welcome you, Aria Mikado. As I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So, hello.
Yo, how's it going? It's Aria Mikado. Yeah, no. I'm here to talk about beat 'em ups and pretty much anything else that I'm asked about. So, I mean, we can get the ball rolling.
All right, let's do this then. All right, let's go straight to the point. Who is Arya Mikado? Can you tell us about yourself for a second?
But yeah, I can tell a little bit. So I I love fighting games, right?
Okay.
I love beat 'em ups. These are things that bring me a lot of joy. I love labbing in these things, figuring out a lot of what makes things tick. I love breaking down systems in those sorts of games and teaching people about them if I can.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of something that I pride myself on. I'm not a competitive person at heart, um, but I very much love the concept of trying to take the knowledge that I can accrue and use it to teach other people.
Yeah.
So I think that's extra important no matter what you're doing.
All right. So you pretty much like
Um,
discovering things in like any sort of games, be it a beat 'em up or a fighting game. Just to get around the systems and just show out to everyone in the world. Is it?
yeah, yeah. Not so much for the showing off part. Like I do things that I think are cool,
Uh-huh.
right?
Okay.
And I just kind of push it out to other people. But my main goal is hopefully somebody can take something from this. Someone can learn something from this,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's an important thing.
All right. I got you. I got you. It's best that everyone actually knows and like learns something new out of all this stuff, so they can implement it on their play or just have some fun with it. So yeah, yeah, yeah. I get you. Okay. Next question is like, what got you into fighting games generally? Like, cause you're in the same community as us, the FGC. What got you into the fighting games?
I've been playing fighting games for a very long time. Like a lot of people, I started with Street Fighter 2,
Oh,
right?
that's really recent.
And things just kind of snowballed from there. I played a lot of stuff, ranging from Street Fighter 2 to Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 3 was something that I stuck on for a very long time when I was younger.
Uh huh.
Um, and it just kind of moved forward, just on and on from there. And it was a genre that I really appreciated. So it was something where it was like there was always something to learn.
Okay. Okay.
So it just kind of stuck to my brain. And I when it comes to things that I feel like I can constantly learn something from, I'm kind of like a sponge. If it catches my interest, I'm going to want to absorb all of the knowledge that I can and go from there.
All right. That's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty OG that everyone is starting from Street Fighter 2. So you're one of the older ones. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Mm, I don't know how old that makes me. Street Fighter 2 came out a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's fair. It's a
Yeah.
fair assessment.
It's very fair. It's very fair. All right. So what's your favorite fighting games?
Yeah, yeah.
What's your favorite fighting game actually?
Oh, that's a rough question. I've got a few that top my list that are kind of like neck and neck.
Okay. All right. All right.
I love Vampire Savior.
Oh.
I love Vampire Savior to death.
Yes.
Um, so much that you can do in that game. Just the way that the game feels, the
What's up,
way that
Tempest?
things come across, just lots of stuff in Vampire Savior. I adore it. Also, Hello Tempest.
All right.
Um, yeah, love Vampire Savior. That one stuck to my brain. Virtual Fighter 5.
Oh, the re.
Ultimate Showdown.
Okay, 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 okay.
Now that we're
All
at
right.
Ultimate Showdown, like that's where I'm at, right?
Mm.
Um, for if there is ever a game where it's like I'll sit down and I will play that for like hours on hours, Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown would be it.
Wait,
Um,
wait. Like, who's your main in Virtua Fighter Showdown actually right now? I can't remember.
Eileen,
Oh yeah, Eileen.
Eileen,
Eileen. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said you like to play with the
yeah,
mix-ups.
Monkey, yep, Monkey Kung Fu all day.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right then. So, what are the other things you do aside from playing fighting games? We all know that you play beat 'em up. So, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, yeah, I can do that. So beat 'em ups already like that. That's already a subject where it's like this is my playground sort of. River City Girls is
Ah,
where I kind of applied my craft, so to speak. Like I really dug into that game. Um, adore River City Girls to death. Streets of Rage 4 is another really nice one.
amazing.
Fight and Rage is pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fight and Rage has its flaws, but so do the other two.
True, true.
Uh, but those 3 I adore a lot. There's a lot of tech to be found in those. They're fun to be able to play on, like, a base level, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you start digging into what exactly they have in regards to things you can do with juggles, things you can do with counter hits, ways you can abuse the system on certain frames to do insert thing here, all 3 of those games provide a lot in
Yeah.
regards to that, and it wasn't any wonder that I stuck to those the way that I did because just like with fighting games, there's always something to learn. There's something new to touch on with the way those games work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know about River City's other known unknown mechanics like jump cancels and launcher cancels as well as moonwalks. It's because of you. You actually was able to flourish the combat a bit more than what it is, and people were actually more interested in the game once that happened. You do know that, right? You were one of the people that actually like blasted this game into many bits of ways for others to play it in a way they can play.
oh yeah, yeah, I have been made acutely aware by other people. Um, it it's weird because it goes back to what I was saying before about like not necessarily trying to show off, but more trying to teach people stuff. Um, I started playing River City Girls, and I had played like other beat 'em ups and everything like that. And I'd seen like pretty detailed guides for other games and stuff. But everything that I saw for River City Girls, when that came out, like over the first week, everything that I saw basically pointed to people saying, "Oh, there's no depth to this game. You can't
Mm-hmm.
do this. You can't do that." And I was confused. I was looking at it and I'm like, "Are we playing the same game?" Because I'm seeing a lot of things that people are saying literally impossible, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like it made me start like actually wanting to dig more. And then I went from there to wanting to teach people the things that I was finding. So I was like, I'll make some tutorials and stuff and see if we can get some knowledge out there for people. And from there, um, there were other people who were also like trying to dig into things, and a lot of my clips and a lot of the knowledge that I picked up on um, actually got their attention. The people from the River City Girls Discord called the River City Mall, which I am now a mod of. they brought me in um, to that Discord, and I, helped to push a lot of the discoveries and whatnot for River City Girls in that Discord. And we helped in building up a community for that game. And several people actually joined that Discord and said flat out, like, you all were the reason that I got into this game and got a lot deeper about it. So I give like credit to them for, just as well giving a platform
Hmm.
to the efforts that I made with like making tutorials and things like that because they definitely pushed some things around that I did and it they put in their own work. They have combo videos and stuff like that, exhibition videos and stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, for some of the other characters. So they were able to use some of the tech that I and we all collectively came up with for the game and do their own stuff to like help teach other people in this community that we were building. So, I give just as many props to them for the work that they put in.
That's absolutely amazing.
Um,
That's cool. Yeah, it's actually great. It's cool to have the community work out the bits of what you've made, like what you made on Discovery, and that just simply just keeps on growing and growing and builds up. It's one of the reasons why River City River City Girls 2 is coming out soon. You got, I mean, like, you know the world already. It's the hottest thing that's gonna be coming out so far soon enough.
Oh, I don't know if it's the hottest thing. I mean, Metroid Dread just dropped, and
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
am knee deep in that. So,
I saw.
but when River City Girls comes out, when River City Girls 2 comes out, I'm going to be all over that. That's where I'm gonna be. So,
I'm sure. I mean, like everyone will, especially me, as someone who is down with the music. All right, so let's
oh
get
yeah,
let's say so let's go down a bit. Uh, you got any other
hmm,
favorite genres of games in hand?
yes.
Oh,
Metroidvanias. Yeah, I
oh,
just mentioned Metroid Dread, and I need to actually expand on that since you asked that question. I
sure, sure,
love
sure, sure, sure.
Metroidvania titles. Um, Metroid, of course. Castlevania was something I literally grew up with. Um, when I say literally, the first Castlevania on NES, I actually beat that when I was 3 years old.
Wait, you mean
Of
the
course,
wait? You mean the
I
first
had
one?
help because I was
Wait, you mean?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes,
So the
the
first.
one
Okay,
on
okay.
the NES,
Oh shoot. Oh shoot.
yes. Of course, I had help. I was 3 years old, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But, like, I had, like, cousins and whatnot who would tell me, like, they used to tell me, like, "You stuck to that. You were stubborn about it. You refused to not, to not beat this game. You were not going to let this game beat you, and you just needed to do it." Um, and it just stuck with me. The whole series stuck with me, and as it evolved, I continued to play. So the Metroidvania style of play caught me, and it just like hooked me in. I played loads of Castlevania games, obviously the Metroid games. Um, Metroid Dread now has my attention. Um, I played loads and loads of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night
Ah,
when that came out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm still waiting for the new content from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I too,
Um,
too. Oh, I love that game too.
but I adore Metroidvanias, right? Because it, the exploration is a great thing. Um, to be able to go across like various areas, like, filling out maps and things of that nature. And then it's like, oh, well, you can go here when you get the correct ability,
Yeah.
right? And then when you finally do get that ability that you need, typically you have to deal with some sort of enemy using that ability. and it's what you need to actually deal with the boss or whatever else, right? So the
Yes, yes.
game is actually like teaching you as you're going along.
Yep.
And then you get to a point later where you can combine use of all these abilities and do all this stuff together to do lots of different things. And it in turn just goes hand in hand with the whole concept of me wanting to learn a lot from the things that I partake in. So, I love the genre for that reason.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. What you say?
what else? Oh, no, no, no. I was just thinking of other genres. RPGs, arcade style racing games specifically,
Uh-huh.
arcade style sports games, um, and just general action adventure.
Okay.
Give me
Okay.
Devil May Cry and Tales of games and stuff like that. I'll be happy.
All right. Cool.
Uh,
Cool. What's your favorite metroidvania style game, by the way? Since you mentioned it.
my favorite at the moment is Bloodstained. It
Oh.
is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I can play that game multiple times and not get tired. Right? That game just has my attention all the way through. Metroid Dread right now is leaving a very good impression on me. Um, I don't know whether or not I'll like it as much as Bloodstained, but it's definitely not a bad game.
Hmm.
Not in the least. One thing I'm very much enjoying about it is the movement. The movement in Metroid Dread is so crisp and clean. You can do so many neat things, and everything just flows together really well. Just a short example. Um, you naturally you can do a slide
Yeah.
in Metroid Dread, and you can shoot and slide at the same time. Okay, cool. Well, you get the morph ball. When you get the morph ball back later on, if you've played a Metroid game before, the typical way to get into the morph ball is to crouch and press down again, right?
Yeah.
And that'll get you into morph ball mode. Well, you can combine your slide and the morph ball into one fluid motion. If you slide and press the slide button again, Samus will just go from the slide into the morph ball in one quick motion and actually carry her momentum from morph ball or from the slide into the morph ball transition. So you just go into a forward rolling like animation all of a sudden, and it's like, oh well, that's really cool,
Oh.
right? And it creates just this really snappy, quick and fluid motion that
All
you
right.
can utilize to continue moving through narrow spaces, get through platforms, and everything just moves very fluidly. I don't know any other way to explain it, but it's so cool. It's very slick, and it's really nice to just watch.
Huh. That's actually pretty neat. Ah, God, I'm still in hands to get Metroid Dread, but whatever you're saying right now is like making me so eager to try it. I love Metroid, so this would be actually a very fun thing to see.
Yeah.
All right. So, any games you're looking forward, like any upcoming games you're looking forward to? You got in mind?
Mm, Metroid Dread was the thing I was looking forward to, but now I have it, so I'm just kind of like, oh well. uh, River City Girls 2, of course, but that's not dropping until 2022,
Yeah,
so can't really,
you can't
say
say
much
much.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay. I got you. I got you. All right, so we're done with all the general questions. It's time we go down for the specifics. This ain't gonna be like really much of what's gonna go happen, so I'll just tackle as much as I can with this one. And if anybody got any other questions you want to ask for Arya, just tell in the chat because we're here, she's here. We can ask anything vibrant right now, so feel free. All right, so just
Yeah,
question this.
I'll do the best I can.
Thank you. All right, let's get to the first question. All right, so, uh, how is it? gaming as a trans individual in the community, by the way? How is it? I want to ask this.
I mean, so to me, like being trans and gaming in general, right?
Yeah.
It's to me it's no different because it shouldn't be different, right? I think
Mhm.
would be the better way to say it because to
Yes.
me, the vast majority of trans people are just trying to live their lives, just trying to be themselves. And, you can't really put a mark on that and just all of it. It doesn't make sense to disparage someone for their life choices if their life choices have no direct impact on you. But the world doesn't work that way. People suck. So, we have issues to discuss and things that we have to deal with on the daily, and it's not fair to people of the LGBTQ plus community that that kind of thing has to be a thing. So I think it's that much more important because of these issues for
Right. Right.
people who are LGBTQ to actually be willing to step forward, and be themselves, to show other people that doing that isn't a bad thing, right?
Yes.
And it's that much more important to give that good representation in general to others who may be kind of struggling or going through their own, nonsense
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to whether or not they feel comfortable in their own shoes, because every little bit of positivity in that regard helps. Um, and goodness knows, you could find, you could find help and reassurance in some of the most unlikely places.
Right.
So I think it's super important that like people be accepting of themselves and be willing to show that because you can help a myriad of people and not even know it just by doing that.
Absolutely. Like in the end, we're all humans, so it's best we all get along. Really, we are all beautiful people in this world. So yeah, as you are a trans person in the community, like a trans individual in the community, it's great to see that you stand on your toes, and it's just as anyone else around there. We're all gaming. We're all here to game and have fun, basically.
Yeah, that's the goal at least,
Mhm.
that as we have seen, things get rough. So all we can do is do our part to kind of uplift each other and make things better where we can, how we can.
True, true. All right then. Now, since you're a content creator, right? Mind us telling about more as you and the person who actually made it. Mind over mix up. Mind. Can you elaborate on this one? Because this was been an interesting watch for the longest time I've been seeing around with you. You know.
Okay, so mine over mix up, right? Um, while there are a group of people that I work with in regards to mind over mix up whenever it comes down to content that gets created sometimes. By and large, Mind Over Mix Up has been a singular project of mine as something that I wanted to create in order to have a platform for people, right?
Yeah.
To express themselves, to be able to talk about various things
Oh, what's up, Punisher?
without. Oh, hello. Uh, but yeah, no. I wanted people to be able to have a platform where they could freely express themselves to talk about the various things they would want to talk about without any kind of concern. Um, and in general, to have a place where they could kind of do that sort of stuff and not worry about whether or not they would be accepted. Um, so long as, I mean, the main thing obviously is you can't be a jerk. You
Yeah,
you cannot be a gigantic bag of douche. Because if that's the case, we're turning you around at the door. there's there's no there's no room for bags of douche,
I get
right?
you.
But like even beyond that, like we want to give a voice to also to people that like want to try to teach others in certain things, whether it comes down to like action games, fighting games, RPGs. If you feel like you have something to contribute in that regard, like it's something where like you could actually work with
Oh,
us.
I
We
agree.
could collab on stuff. You could do stuff and whatnot for the channel or whatever, and like we would welcome it. We would 100% like welcome that kind of contribution if you feel like you got knowledge you want to share and it's cool.
Alright, that's actually amazing.
Um so it's it, there is a group that can be involved, but mostly it's been me leaving stream vods, general content, combo and exhibition and tutorial videos, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is busy doing their own things, which is 100% fine. But that's kind of what it is. It's a platform more than a concentrated movement or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's about it, though.
Yeah. I mean, for Mind Over Mix Up, from what I know, at least for what I've watched, there's you and Hexil. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hexil, her channel basically, because she always does most Mondays. I'm always there for the most Mondays. It's fun, and we have you as well, which is you playing various types of games, especially Bloodstain. It was quite a watch, and for what I'm hearing, it's actually pretty nice that you're making something that everyone could contribute and have fun and teach people about something new they don't know. It's really great because many people out here don't really have like the courage or just maybe the plane of trying. Maybe they're scared. So this is a good opportunity that you're introducing to these people out there.
Oh yeah, that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. Like if I again, I want to be able to like help people out in that regard. If they can just get anything from anything that I put out there. If they can look at something that I do because I think it's cool or whatever, and they're like, oh, I didn't know I could do this, right? As
Yeah.
an example, the River City Girls stuff, where there's just a lot of people who are like, oh, I didn't know you could do this. This blew the game wide open for me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I did something worthwhile with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that by itself, it creates, something for the community in that sense. And that's all I really want is to be able to teach people and, give them something to take into their next experience with whatever it is they look into next.
I get you. I get you. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right then. Um, you're also a contributor at the Dream Cancel. Can you tell a little bit about that? Because that's actually something I want to know as well. It's pretty interesting.
So Dream Cancel is a site that has been around for uh, years on years, like literal, like more than a decade,
It's
right?
long. It's a very long one.
Um, been around for a very long time. Yes. They are essentially the SureYouCan.com for SNK games. If there's things you would need to know about SNK related games and stuff, You could check dream cancel, like, and this was before, like, we had concentrated wikis and stuff like
Yeah.
we do now. And even then, they still like gave a lot of news and whatnot that had to do with various other things. They kept up with a lot of things. They kept their finger on the pulse for a lot of stuff. And I actually got a lot of SNK related news from Dream Cancel for a long time.
Hmm.
So that was really cool for me, right? Um, so when SNK Heroines came out, and there were a lot of people that were iffy on the game, they were sitting like on the fence and everything like that. I was at the time like really, really digging into what that game had going on, and it kind of caught the attention of a few people. And it was something where it was like I actually did get approached when someone started like when Dream Cancel actually started like looking for new contributors, new writers, and things of that nature. And when I was told about the opportunity, I just went and I was like, you know what? I'll see if I can get my foot in the door.
Hmm.
um, and they actually did like choose me to be one of their contributors. I
Okay.
wish I could provide more than just combo stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But they they're very cool about that. They do allow me to do that. I did stuff for Million Arthur Arcana Blood for them,
Oh.
because Iori Yagami's in that game,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and of course, lots of content for uh, SNK heroines. I am super thankful for having had the opportunity to do that at all. I still want to talk to Desmond KOF
Oh, Desmond.
about like some future articles and stuff that I could do. Um, just because I appreciate the opportunity. I looked into that site for a very long time, and for them to allow me to be a contributor to that in any sense for me is like really cool. So super appreciative of that.
All right, that's actually pretty amazing. Gosh, Dream Cancel. The moment you said about long, I can't imagine that. Darn, it's like a decade or so that site has been long lasted, even along with Shoryuken.com. Dang.
Oh yeah, it's been around for a while.
Uh, that's the oldest. Okay. Um, all right. What got you into VTubing? Because this is actually another interesting thing. You didn't actually started doing VTubing until as of like I don't know, recent, right?
Oh yeah, I started this year,
Yeah, this
right?
year. Yeah, this recent.
Um, yeah. Um, I I was like just streaming in general. But I ended up getting a model made by a friend of mine, pretty good friend of mine. We call him Tempo.
Ah,
Pretty chill guy.
all right.
They made a model for me initially, just as a gift. It was really cool of them to do it. It was just kind of out of nowhere. Um, and from there, I have commissioned a couple of different outfits, including the one you see here. uh, from White Dragon is her name. She actually does some really, really nice work. I actually met her through one of another friend of mine's, another VTubing friend of mine, Code Makara.
Mm-hmm.
Shout outs to her. She's really cool, by the way. Um, and it was through like getting the avatar and the ability to like stream and everything with that that I was just like, I'll stick to this because it's a good way to kind of express yourself more than just with your voice, sort of. Because if you have an avatar, you have an outfit that you like and things like that. It's just another way for people to see the sorts of things you're into, the kind of style you want to represent, and it's nice in that regard, right? Without having to really put yourself out there if it's something that you're kind of nervous about. So it's an avenue that's worth pursuing if it's something that you have nervousness about in any way, any kind of anxiety, which I certainly do. So I mean, hey, it's there,
Yeah,
why not?
yeah, it's actually pretty nice. So like it puts you in place of yourself to have like something live outside for people to see, so that you can get more comfortable and like scream to the world that you are here and whatnot. It's a good way just to like interact and have fun with what's this, with your viewers and pretty much your audience. So it's cool that you actually did VTubing. It's quite interesting. Basically, I find that very amusing, especially with like how VTubing is evolving day after day, and well, what holds to the world. It's actually pretty nice.
All right, it's definitely like constantly shifting, constantly changing. There's a lot to it to consider daily. So I think it's super cool that like it's decently accessible. Right? Like, if
Sort of.
obviously, you need to have, stuff that can run things that allow you to, like, use models in conjunction with, like, OBS and things of that nature, which obviously that's going to cost you money. That's gonna cost you money by itself, right?
Yeah,
But, if you even got that, right? You've even got, like, just a general, like, laptop or desktop or whatever else that can handle that kind of thing, you can get your foot in the door and then just kinda go nuts, and that's really cool.
yeah. You basically need the rig, you need the power, like, such as the PC. And if you're only gaming on consoles, then probably the PC would just run itself its course. But if you're using the PC, yeah, you would need a bit more juice for that. speaking
Alright.
speaking of which, what's your build in specifics? Because since you're running your VTuber yourself in this kind of state, what's actually your setup basically?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head. I am not a tech junkie.
Oh shoot.
Uh,
That's a
I when I bought my current laptop earlier this year, that was the most that work that I did looking into the specs for the laptop, right?
Yeah,
It was like, all right, I know what I need to do the things that I want to do. So I'll look into this for the purposes of what I need to buy.
yeah.
And then we'll go from there. I don't memorize specs about this, that, and the other thing. I know people that do, so if I ever have questions, I know people I can go to, but that's not my territory.
I mean, if that's the case, then what is the laptop you're actually having right now, basically, that you're using?
Again, I would not be able to tell you that off the top of my head. Um,
Okay, okay, okay. No, that's all cool. That's all cool. It's all cool. But if that's all things considered, as long as it's just running your rig and whatnot, then it should be powerful enough. That's the case.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It does what I needed to do, no problems, right? Um, the only notable thing that I can think of is the graphics card being what it is, because that has created a couple of issues for me here and there.
Mm,
Like, for example, I can't play the PC version of Bloodstained, even though all of the rest of my specs say this game should work 100% fine, right? Everything is fine except for the graphics card. The graphics card disagrees with that game and only that game, and I can't play it because of that. And I'm like, oh, well. this sucks.
Oh wow, that's quite a mess. Oh no. Well, at least you have the console versions though. That's what matters.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah,
And it works. It does what I need to do.
yeah. Okay.
So no complaints there.
All right. So, I want to ask when you. I mean, like we all met around with River City Girls. I know I met you with River City Girls back then when I started doing the dances for it. How is like in general? How is the community with Way Forward, and how much did your contribution actually made an impact through Way Forward and River City Girls?
Well, um, I don't know how like to actually answer that if I'm gonna be honest.
That's all go.
Way Forward are pretty like they're pretty cool.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
they're really cool when it comes to trying to interact with their community and stuff. I'll give them all the props in the world. When I was made a mod for the River City Girls Discord, I actually went out of my way to actually approach devs and stuff for Way Forward. I approached the lead dev, Ban and Rudis. I
Oh,
approached some of the others like Adam Tierney, Jeremy Pryor, um, and a few others. I approached Megan McDuffie, who of course did the
yeah.
some of the vocal tracks and music for the game. She did all the vocal tracks and some of the music. Let me rephrase that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, uh, a couple of the voice actors, and they were nice enough to join in on the into the River City Girls Discord. They were nice enough to like start answering questions from people that had questions about the development of the game or any sort of things that had to do with how the game was made or whatever else. And it that was something where it was like it helped to actually bring more people into the community in that regard because of course people wanted to interact with people who made this game that more people were getting into.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was happy to be able to do that much, right? And
Yeah.
more to the point, I'm happy that they were kind enough to actually be willing to, you know, interact with the community that much. Because goodness knows there's a lot of like devs and whatnot where their whole mindset, their whole philosophy is to interact with their community in as much of an impersonal way as possible, right?
Mm,
They
yeah.
may answer your questions in the broadest sense, but they won't actively try to integrate themselves into the community in that way. And I think that's something that makes Way Forward really cool in that respect. So, hats off to them.
Yeah. Speaking of McDuffie, Meg is gonna actually appear here for us next week in a special one with Thursday. So if anyone's gonna be wanting to join with us with that particular episode, make sure to tune in because she's an amazing person, by the way. Great synth music and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. So
yeah. Meg's really cool. She's chill.
yeah, she is. She's amazing. All right then. You know what? I wasn't gonna actually ask this before, but because of like what the current state it is, uh, how is 2020 in general because of COVID and whatnot? Did it really affect you in person, or basically because the FGC was pretty much on rails when COVID hit the scene? Like, how's it compared from now to then?
Me on a personal level, it didn't affect me too much because I was definitely not going to go out of my way to do a whole lot. As someone who has like all sorts of anxiety issues and disabilities and stuff, I'm kind of limited in regards to when I can go places, where I can go, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a homebody by default anyway,
Okay.
right?
All right.
But
Right.
it doesn't mean that I can't see the effect that it has on the FGC,
Yeah,
right? And one of the big things about that is the way that events have had to change in regards to how they've been run um, over the past year plus to see online events have to take precedence only to be a very limited affair based on the games because the online needs to be functional. It needs to work. It needs to be good.
it needs to be
No
fluid.
bones about it,
Yeah,
right?
got you on that.
So it creates this whole dynamic of which games actually have functional, playable online and what can we use? Before the entire Evo debacle went down, the lineup for Evo in that regard was going to be something that we would have never thought possible. To be honest, I mean, them's fighting herds was going to be part of the Evo lineup.
That was
Think about that.
that was actually amazing.
Consider that as a concept,
That was that was
Consider
amazing.
that as a concept. So I think that by itself says a lot about the direction that things went. And there were obviously a lot of reasons for it. Um, but I think that it in turn has like a knock on effect that in a lot of ways has been positive
Mm-hmm.
because it's making companies realize that with the current state of things, they have to focus on being able to make their games accessible in that regard, make them more like reliable in regards to their online infrastructure and things of that nature. And companies are, for the most part, trying to take better steps for that. And that's good because they wouldn't have before.
True.
Um, so it's been interesting, and I hope that things continue to move in a positive direction.
All right, that's actually very amazing. Yeah, it's true. With games like Guilty Gear and Multi Blood flashing out through the scene right now, especially Guilty Gear, it just shows how much netcode is an importance in this day and age. And without this sort of like implementation, tournaments would like be very like I wouldn't say impossible, but would be a hassle to deal with, especially if you want to just play with your friends. So that's that.
Yeah, yeah, it would definitely be tough, much more difficult than it would need to be. And even now, with the concept of rollback being a thing,
Mm-hmm.
like everyone wants to immediately jump on, well, if it's got rollback, it's going to instantly be good. No, the rollback has to be implemented well. The
Yep.
rollback itself has to be good. Otherwise, you're no better off than if you were using delay-based netcode, right?
Yep.
And that's the thing that a lot of people want to decry immediately. But I mean, it's not going to be an insta fix for a situation. It has to be good. The company has to put in the work.
True that. True that. The reason why even Street Fighter Five that has netcode is just donkey doo doo. Oh boy. All right. All right. So I'm about to get reach to the five last question part of this segment, but before I close that thing off, let me say this one. Well, I mean, I know you have now, you do have anxiety issues and whatnot, but just what if scenario like when things do simmer down and like COVID and whatnot, and we're returning back to normal. Will you ever see yourself going to any events, like any sort of events? Would you go, or you rather stick behind?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could see myself going to an event every now and then. They're fun,
Mhm.
but I have to deal with those sorts of things in moderation. I cannot overdo it.
I get you.
Just to kind of put a bead on where that kind of thing can put me, right?
Yes.
Um, my very first anime convention, like the literal first time I ever went to an anime convention. It was AWA,
Oh,
and it is one of the biggest anime conventions in the United States. And you know, for someone who has anxiety and stuff, that's a terrible idea to try to go to one that big and have that be your first one. So you know, it wasn't the smartest thing, I would say, but I wanted to go to one. I wanted to have that experience. And even though while we were there, I kind of carried myself okay for the most part, on the inside, I was screaming. So this at no point was like exemplified more so than when we got back to the apartment that we were at for the event. We were at a friend's place.
hmm.
And as soon as I got in the door, when we got into the apartment, as soon as I got in the door, my everything that I was holding, it hit the floor. I dropped it on the floor and I hit the floor right behind it. This isn't a no, you're tired and you needed to rest. This is I dropped my stuff on the floor and quite literally fell unconscious
Oh God.
because I got hit with sensory overload from being at that convention. They had to pick me up and put me on the couch and, you know, kind of watch over me. And they were ready as a just in case to, you know, maybe call like, you know, an ambulance or something if it was necessary. But it didn't take me too long to kind of gather myself and come back around. So I was fortunate for that, but it really gave them a warning as to like how I, you know, deal with that kind of thing and how it can affect people when they say they have anxieties and things of that nature. So, you know, they take a lot more care about what events they invite me to, which I appreciate. I appreciate that they're willing to actually take a step back in that regard and show that kind of consideration. That said, it just kind of circles back around. I need to take those kinds of things in moderation. As much as I would like to be part of some of these events and stuff, eh, I would end up needing to go to like one every year. I Even if I would be able to afford it in general, like I would probably only be able to withstand going to one a year. So eh, just pick and choose my fights.
Understandable. Very understandable. That's quite an interesting story. Oh gosh, can't imagine how would be the situation if it was like, oh boy. But yeah, I do understand that. Uh, oh well, at least that you get the experience. You want to go there. The will is there. So yeah, take the opportunity because you may never experience something like this again. That's what I would say.
Right, exactly the point.
Hmm.
Exactly. You got to take those chances when you can because you don't know when, you know, if or when something might happen, you know? And
Yeah.
you got to live life.
All right. Okay, and to that, all the main specifics are done. Let's move down for the closing five generals. Now that's this is just like some just random stuff I ask usually with the people back then in my previous like my previous interviews, and the same thing I would just ask right now. So the first one would be like, what's your favorite gaming console? Actually, do you have one? Your favorite?
Currently my favorite gaming console would be the PS4.
Oh whoa,
Um it has just lots of features that actually lends itself really well to doing a lot of things, including streaming. So
very handy.
it's really handy for a lot of stuff, right? Um, Game selection's nice,
True that.
and I appreciate the fact that the games that are on there are on there. So it's just it's fun. It's I got used to the controllers over the years since the general gist of how PlayStation makes their controllers tends to be the same, and they work for a number of games, number of games and a number of genres. So it's like
True that.
I got no issue with this.
True that. True that. Uh,
Um,
anyways,
yeah,
yeah. You actually started streaming with your PS4 in general?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I tried streaming from my old laptop, and it was a hit or miss depending on what it was I was trying to stream from that laptop. But in general,
Hmm.
um, I had a much better experience streaming from the PS4 as a whole. So it's like that was something that definitely earned it quite a few points for me because it was just like, oh well, I can just do this here and not have to worry about it, right?
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. PS4 just does me a lot of favors. So yeah, no, it stands out for me as a console.
Oh, what's this? No. God dang, I'm really messing up with the names. Welcome, Neil, give it.
Now, Nikki, how's it going?
Okay, that's $100. I'm so bad at this. Okay, okay. Um, all right. So the next one. Do you watch anime? Very simple.
Yes and no.
Oh,
everything everything that I watch anime wise,
yeah.
or have watched has been like old, right?
Ah, okay.
It's really, really, really hard to get me into something that is current, to get
Oh.
me into something that's new. Um, in that respect, it's not a matter of like not being interested. It's more of a matter of everything that comes out like gets hyped a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And when things get overhyped, it pushes me away, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'll wait until all of this hubbub dies down, and then we'll see how I feel about it. And then I never get around to it. So you know, a lot of what I am into, I got into of my own accord on my own time.
Okay.
Although there was one thing I was introduced to
Oh, what is it?
that I did end up really liking a lot, which was Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Ah,
That was
I
really
love
good.
that too.
That that one stuck with me. Um, but everything else that I am aware of anime wise, I got into of my own accord, my own time.
Hmm.
Back in the day, stuff stuck with me. I will absolutely never shut up about Read or Die.
Oh.
Um, I love uh I love things about think I love things about uh Yu Yu Hakusho,
Oh, okay.
Inuyasha, Sailor Moon, Gundam Wing, The Big O. There I can name a lot of things that have left some sort of impression on me in
Oh,
that regard.
okay.
So but the thing is, obviously they're not current day things. So it's just kind of right?
Nah.
So I that's why I say it's like yes and no. So it's like I know of anime. Do I watch current stuff? No. No. Sorry.
I mean, the classic rocks. I still love watching Sailor Moon back. Even I mean, after now, I still watch it. So yeah, I can understand. I can understand that. It's quite back then. Even the animes, which were those times like Inuyasha, Ghost in the Shell, what else? Cowboy Bebop. All of these ones are pretty golden back then. All right then. What do you call this one? That's two questions down. Now let's go to the third. Uh, any favorite food in particular you got? Like anything that you like to munch on?
Question about food.
Yeah.
Huh. Not something I say I expected, to be completely honest.
It's all random. This is all the five random questions I usually just run down on every stream. So yeah,
No, I mean, it's fine. It's just I didn't expect it. It's like, "Oh, gaming, 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 a little
and
bit of
food.
trans stuff. What food do you like? Huh?" Uh, mm. But, let's see, mm, I I love things that have to do with cinnamon.
Oh.
Cinnamon cinnamon flavored things are a big thing for me. Apple juice. Apple juice sticks with me. I absolutely like the three things I drink the most are apple juice, water, and tea. It's super rare for me to drink soda and things of that nature.
Mm.
Um, it's just those three things all the time. uh, so
Yeah.
Uh, outside of that, let's see. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I like chimichangas. Uh,
Oh, I never ate those.
yeah, yeah, they're pretty nice. Um, yeah, like I would have to actually like think and give you a list.
That's
But
okay.
if we're talking about like general like snack foods and stuff, like yeah, I think I pretty much named a good amount of the sweet stuff.
Well,
Although, like, I'm a sucker for chocolate and peanut butter dipped pretzels.
yes, I love those.
Those
Actually,
things, yeah,
yeah,
definitely love those. Adore those.
those are like sweet. Naruki is like saying apple juice products are great. I tend to sip on apple cider though. Oh, really? Huh, interesting. Apple juice lovers unite. Tempest
Oh yeah,
says.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that at all.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't drink apple cider, but it's actually cool. Apple cider. Oh, sorry. Apple
I
juice
mean,
lovers unite. All right,
yeah, you can
so.
let it slide. You can let that slide. I shall allow it. I shall allow it.
All right. So let's go. Fourth question is, if you're gonna be going out, you know, if you're gonna be like going out anywhere just to travel around the world, what game would you carry out with you? Like the one game you would need to go if you're like traveling to a journey or something that will just occupy you.
If I was traveling and I needed something to play because I'm traveling and I needed something to do, I would make sure that in some shape, form, or fashion, I could play Bloodstained.
Ah, okay.
Um, I there are so many ways that you can play that game. It's actually absurd,
You can play it in the mobile
and
version too, right?
that's
You can play it in mobile, right?
yeah, they made a mobile version.
Oh shoot.
I don't know if it's out yet, but they did. There's also more content coming on the way for the game too, so there's that. Um, and even right now, there's still stuff for there's a randomizer in the game.
Mm.
There's different ways that you can play. There's a speed run mode. There's a boss revenge mode. There's a way to play as one of the bosses, bloodless,
Yeah.
through the game. There's another character altogether, Zangetsu, who's a supporting character. You can play through the game as him. And then obviously there's a lot of the stealth induced challenges that you can do,
Mm-hmm.
like playing through the game with a particular weapon or playing through doing a pacifist run,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
There's just a number of ways you can play that game, and it's so good because of it. It's so good.
Yeah.
So
Tempest says I would have guessed that or Jessica. Jessica. Fudge.
this guy,
This
yeah,
guy. Yeah.
this guy is a good one.
Yeah.
This guy is a good one. So no, I 100% like understand that, that guess coming from Tempest.
All right.
This guy would definitely give somebody more than more than a bit of an excuse to just waste a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I got you. All right. I want. I mean, okay. This is the last question. I should. I mean, I could have actually asked this before at the beginning, but what's the origins of your name,
Okay,
Arya? My question is, what's the origins of your name? I should have been asking this one at the far beginning, but since we're at the last question, I'm asking this now. What's the origins of your name?
you're fine. You're 100% fine. So the Aria part, right? Like
Yeah.
I adore music and its terminology.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I appreciated the various terms for different types of music, different things that go into music, such as tone, cadence, and things of the sort. So the word aria, like it stuck to me in
Mm-hmm.
that regard. That was something that I really, really liked just as a word. And I felt like it would be a nice name. So like, okay, that's fine. Right.
Yeah.
Uh the Mikado part. Um so funny thing about that, a long time ago, I was looking up things about Japanese language because it's just sheer curiosity.
Okay.
Uh, and one of the translations that I saw for Mikado was emperor,
Oh.
right? So that was something that was like I wanted to kind of adapt that into my mindset, sort of, right? Act like, someone who would be respected like an emperor,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that kind of made me kind of want to take on the name.
Huh. That's cool.
And then after I started trying to actually, like, put that into my mindset and everything like that, I ran into the PS2 game, The Bouncer.
Ah. Oh my god, I haven't heard that name for a while.
And there's a character in The Bouncer named Duragon C. Mikado, and I just happened to really like him a lot. So it just stacked, and I was like, you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
And thus Arya Mikado.
And yeah, it just stuck. So
That's amazing. Oh gosh, the bouncer. If you haven't played that game, it's a gem. Yeah,
it
you
is
gotta you gotta
it's
try it.
it's better than people give it credit for, but it could be better too.
True, true.
It's a game of, broken promises. It makes me sad, but it makes me happy.
It's a gem. All right. So yes, this concludes already all about the interview. If anyone over here has questions for Arya, you can shoot it out right now. But as of as of now, we actually completed the. I mean, we actually completed the third episode. So it was actually quite amazing for you to join me. This was supposed to happen back in 2020, but due to COVID and whatnot, it just threw things around, and I had to stop the stream with my buddy. Right now, he's also not here as of the moment, doing some other job. So I took the opportunity right now to reboot this, and I wanted Arya to come here way back, and I'm happy that she's actually here. So thank you very much, Arya. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It is not a problem at all. I've got more than enough time on my hands.
Okay, so now it was Naoki was asking how is she so cool and good at the video games.
Listen. Uh, I'm not first, let me just put that out there. I'm not. I just try to do my best. That is the point.
Cool.
Um you know, I could definitely agree though that some of the people that I know, Naoneki, Tempest,
Actually,
and Defying Zero, all of you, uh, are included in that. Like you're all really, really cool people, and I think that more people should aspire to be as chill as you all are. I
thanks.
could name a few others in that list as well, but in general, I am thankful to know the people that I know. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks everybody, and thank you. This is Arya. You got anything to say before we actually, jet off the stream? You got anything to say for everyone out there?
Anything to say? Yeah. Play River City Girls, play
Yes.
Bloodstained.
Yes.
If you can afford it, play Metroid Dread.
Oh.
All very good games. If
Uh,
you have any sorts of questions about River City Girls or things of that nature, uh, in regards to gameplay, at the very least, you could feel free to hit me on Twitter at Aria Mikado. I 100% will, I'll answer whatever questions I can, and barring an answer from me, I can probably point you to someone who can answer them. So, yeah,
yeah. All right. So yeah, this
that's
is
about
about
it, though.
yeah, that's about it. If you're interested in more about Arya and her content, you can check her out as she said on Twitter at Arya Mikado. And in general, if you want to like see my streams as well as this more of the interview, you can always watch me here at Defying Zero on Twitch and Twitter, Francis Albert GN. And yeah, this is pretty much it. This wraps up around episode 3. I'm happy to have you here because since we all met up in River City Girls, it was great to actually have you on this stream itself as someone who really introduced me to the game. I mean, like not reintroduce. I mean, introduce me more like reintroduce me to something that is way different to how I play the game, and it was quite an amazing run. So with that, thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Like I said, my big thing was just wanting to teach, and it seems like I was able to do that. So, that makes me happy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And with that, that's it. This is episode 3, Residents of the Rivers. We got your girl here, brawling out to the world and whatnot. She'll be out there. She'll be out there making videos as such. What is the more undiscovered, rediscovered, and somewhere to teach? If you're out there and you're just trying to find some answers, she's here for you and she will be there for you. So with that said, this is Defying Zero. It's Arya, and we're signing off. Good night, everybody. Stay
Yeah,
fresh.
everybody take it easy.
Yeah. Bye bye. Let's die.